What's up, everybody? Welcome to Sports Earth. In this video, I will be making my college baseball NCAA tournament predictions. So this will, of course, include the College World Series, but there's a lot that goes into the tournament before the College World Series in Omaha, Nebraska. So we're going to cover all that first, and then we will get to the final 8 teams that participate in the World Series. But before we get into any of the predictions, here is the list of the top 16 teams. So all but one of these teams is hosting the regional round, and I'll explain why one of these teams is not hosting later. But Arkansas from the SEC, they're the number 1 overall seed. Texas is number 2 from the Big 12. Tennessee and Vanderbilt, 3 and 4, they're each from the SEC. Arizona is number 5 from the Pac-12. TCU at number 6, they're from the Big 12. Mississippi State at number 7, they are from the SEC. Texas Tech at number 8, they are from the Big 12. Stanford from the Pac-12 at number 9. Notre Dame from the ACC at number 10. ACC had a little bit of a down year this year, but Notre Dame, they were able to get a top 16 seed. Old Dominion at number 11. Ole Miss at number 12. East Carolina at number 13. Oregon at number 14. Florida at number 15. And then rounding out the top 16 seeds is Louisiana Tech. So that all but one of those teams, as I mentioned, are hosting a regional. So I'll sort of break that down as we get into the predictions. But here we go. So this is the first half of the bracket right here. I'll give you guys a second to check it out. So each bracket of 4 is a double elimination bracket. So it's not like the 3-2, 1-4, and then the winners play. It's a double elimination bracket, so you lose, you still have a chance to rebound. But we're just going to be predicting who's going to win each regional, which is the bracket of 4 that you see, and then who's going to win the super regional, which is the 4 matchups between the 2 regional winners that you see on your screen. So for the regional winners, we have Arkansas in their sections. They are the hosts. They're the number 1 overall seed. Should not be much of a surprise. Nebraska's solid, but they're not going to have a chance against Arkansas. Louisiana Tech and NC State and Alabama. This was a really tough decision to choose between those 3 schools, but I went with Alabama for the upset. So Alabama, they're playing pretty solid right now. Maybe not. They wouldn't have made the tournament if it wasn't for what happened in the SEC tournament. But this Alabama team, they're playing pretty solid. And I trust this Bama team. I think that they can beat NC State. And I think that they can beat Louisiana Tech. Louisiana Tech, they were the number 16 overall seed. They were the lowest seeded, number 1 seed. So I think Alabama and NC State both have a chance, but I'm taking Alabama with the upset. Next up, Stanford, their regional, I have them being upset by UC Irvine. UC Irvine is a team that I really like, and I'm not a huge fan of many of these Pac-12 teams, as you will see later on in the video. But I do have UC Irvine pulling off this upset here against Stanford. I've got Texas Tech just barely holding on against UCLA and North Carolina and Army. I think those are all 3 pretty solid teams. Honestly, I think all 4 of these teams have a pretty good shot, but I think UCLA is going to give Texas Tech a run for their money here. This should be really interesting to see what happens there in Lubbock, but I really think that this regional could go probably 4 ways. I think Army has a pretty solid shot as well. Arizona, I'm not a huge fan of, but I also don't really trust Oklahoma State. Don't really like UCSB. So I'm going to have to go with Arizona. I feel like they're the safest pick in this regional. Even though I don't love them, I don't really love a lot of teams from the Pac-12. And Arizona is one of those, but I just don't trust UCSB or Oklahoma State to win this regional. But Arizona, I don't really trust them either, to be honest. I've got Ole Miss winning their regional over Southern Miss and Florida State. Florida State's a good team. I think that they and Southern Miss could each compete with Ole Miss, but I think Ole Miss is just too good of a team right now to lose to either Florida State or Southern Miss. I've got East Carolina just barely getting their regional. I'm barely winning their regional over Charlotte and Maryland. Now, Charlotte and Maryland especially, Maryland's a very good team. Charlotte, they've been up there this year. And East Carolina, they're a team that's been pretty consistently good. And while they don't have a bunch of great wins, they did beat Charlotte earlier this year. While that was a long time ago, but I trust this East Carolina team. I think that they have a chance to go pretty far in this NCAA tournament. And I've got them winning their regional, just holding on. And then I have them facing Vanderbilt in the Super Regional. Shouldn't be a big surprise. Vanderbilt, they got a pretty easy draw. And, Georgia Tech, they're the only team that really has much of a chance in there. So I've got Vanderbilt winning their regional and facing off against East Carolina in the Super Regional. So now for my 4 Super Regional champions from this half of the bracket, so these 4 teams will be going to the College World Series. Once again, this is just my prediction. So here we go. I've got Arkansas over Alabama. So the Super Regional, it's a best of 3 series. So I've got Arkansas winning the 3-game series out over Alabama. This should not be a big surprise. Alabama is an unpopular upset pick up there from the Louisiana Tech Regional, and I don't think that they're going to stand much of a chance against the number 1 ranked Arkansas Razorbacks. UC Irvine, Texas Tech. This is interesting. Don't love Texas Tech, but I do think that they pull out this win over UC Irvine. But I think this one could go either way. I don't love Texas Tech, and I almost picked UCLA here, but I'm gonna go with Texas Tech to hold on and win this Super Regional, go to the College World Series. They're a team that's been up here, ranked really high for a long time, and I expect them to play well here when it matters. I've got Ole Miss over Arizona. This should not be a big surprise. I don't think that Arizona is that good of a team. I don't think that they should have been seeded as high as they are. So I would not be surprised if Arizona is knocked out pretty early. That honestly would not surprise me one bit. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't even win their regional. And I definitely have Ole Miss dominating them here. And then Vanderbilt dominating East Carolina. East Carolina is not bad, but they won't stand a chance against a team like Vanderbilt. So now we are heading on to the second half of the bracket. So I'll give you guys a second to check that bracket out. But it's definitely an interesting bracket. And that Old Dominion, South Carolina bracket, that's a really wacky group 4. So once again, this is a double elimination in the regionals. So my regional champions, I've got Texas winning the top regional. Texas, one of the best teams in the country. Nobody in that regional really stands a chance. I've got Florida winning the other regional. Miami could really be an interesting team, an interesting upset pick here, and I definitely think Miami has a good chance. But I feel like Florida's starting to play better baseball right now. And I think they're going to be playing some good baseball when it matters most. I've got Notre Dame holding on in their regional. Michigan is a team that's been known to pull off upsets in the postseason. They have experience here, so I definitely could see Michigan winning this regional. I don't think that UConn is that good, but I do have Notre Dame winning this one. But I think this one could really go to Michigan. I really considered that. Mississippi State and VCU, they're clear-cut top 2 teams in this regional, and I could see VCU pulling off the upset here. I really like this VCU team, and I think they have a chance to pull off the upset, but I'm going to keep Mississippi State in the front, in the driver's seat here, and I've got them winning their regional, so facing off against Notre Dame in the Super Regional. TCU, another team that I'm just not on their hype train, but I'm also not on the Oregon State hype train, and the other 2 teams in this regional just don't really have much of a chance, so I kind of give TCU this win, partially by default. So I've got TCU winning, but once again, I don't really think that they're that great of a team. I've got Old Dominion and South Carolina coming down to the wire. Now Jacksonville, they're not that good, and Virginia's okay, but I don't really think that they're playing that great this year, and I don't think they're going to be able to compete with Old Dominion and South Carolina. So this is very interesting right here. Old Dominion and South Carolina. South Carolina is the host here, but they are the number 2 seed. Old Dominion does not get to host this regional, but South Carolina, they have great pitching. They have Wes Clark, who's one of the best power hitters in the country. They have some very good hitters as well. Other than Wes Clark, they have a very complete team, probably a more complete team than Old Dominion. All the SEC teams that they've gotten to face this year, that's going to help them toughen up in this postseason. So I have South Carolina winning that regional. They get the home field advantage as well, which is really big. And then I've got Oregon actually dropping their regional, not to Gonzaga though, to LSU. LSU is a team that came into the season with very high expectations. Of course, everything is going on there with their coach retiring, and it's just kind of a tough little ending to the season for LSU. Just trying to adjust, but I do have them winning their regional here. And then I actually have Duke. This is a team that's on fire. They've won 12 straight games. And while I believe in Tennessee, I think they're a very, very good team. And I think Liberty is a good team as well. And even Wright State, I think this is a good regional. I do have Duke winning this one. I think they're on fire. I think they're going to stay on fire. And I think they're going to beat Tennessee when they need to. So now on to the Super Regional. So once again, the Super Regionals are a best of 3 series. So here we go. I've got Florida over Texas. I'm not a huge fan of Texas, but I think they're a solid team. But Florida, as I mentioned earlier in the video, they're playing so well right now when it matters most. So I have them advancing to the College World Series. I've got Mississippi State over Notre Dame. Notre Dame just barely winning their regional over Michigan. And Mississippi State, they barely won their regional in my eyes as well over VCU. But I think that Mississippi State is the more complete team. They faced much better competition this year, and I think that's definitely going to benefit them and all those SEC teams here in the postseason. TCU and South Carolina, this is an interesting one. Talked about how I don't really believe in TCU, even though they are a very high seed. They've had an up and down last couple weeks. I've got South Carolina winning this one. That's another SEC school. And then I've got Duke. I mentioned they are on fire. And I think the SEC schools, they can't run on forever. So I do have Duke winning this one over LSU, this best of 3 series. Their hitting is amazing right now, and I think the pitching will be solid enough for them to beat LSU here. LSU has a very talented roster, but I do think that Duke is going to be able to get this super regional win and advance to the College World Series. So now we will be predicting the College World Series. So the 4 super regional winners from each half of the bracket face off in another double elimination bracket. So I'll walk you guys through each bracket as I make these predictions. But I separated this into 2 brackets. So we have bracket 1, bracket 2. The winner of each bracket faces off in the College World Series Championship. So here we go. Bracket 1. Okay, so in the first round, this is going to get really confusing, so just try to stay with me. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments and I will answer them for you. So in the first round, Arkansas will face Texas Tech and Vanderbilt will face Ole Miss. So I have Arkansas defeating Texas Tech in the first round, and I have Vanderbilt defeating Ole Miss in the first round. So then the 2 losers face off, and the loser is eliminated because remember, this is a double elimination. And Texas Tech, they've already lost once. They lost to Arkansas, and I've got them losing to Ole Miss in the first elimination game of this bracket. So Texas Tech is eliminated. And now in the winners game, so this will be the first loss for the loser of this game, and I have Arkansas, number 1 ranked team in the country, defeating Vanderbilt. Now Vanderbilt, there's a chance that they have Rocker or Jack Leiter pitching in this game, but I am going to have to take Arkansas here. Arkansas has very good pitching as well. They're able to hit. Most complete team in the country, I'd say, without doubt. So now we have Ole Miss, who won. So they have 1 loss, and Vanderbilt has 1 loss. So the 2 teams with 1 loss, they face off. Loser is eliminated in this double elimination bracket. And I've got Vanderbilt winning this one over Ole Miss. I just don't think that Ole Miss is quite on that championship contending tier that Vanderbilt and Arkansas are. So that sets up Arkansas and Vanderbilt. So Arkansas, they've already won twice. They just need 1 more win. They have to win 1 out of 2 games against Vanderbilt, but I have Vanderbilt winning the second game. So essentially, it becomes a best of 3 series, and it's a 1-1 series tie. So essentially, as I mentioned, best of 3 series is pretty much what it comes down to here at the end with the two teams. And Arkansas and Vanderbilt, they each have 1 win. Once again, this is just my prediction. None of this has happened yet. The College Worlds or the NCAA tournament starts Thursday. You'll probably be seeing this video on Wednesday. So I have Arkansas and Vanderbilt going to a game 3, and now for bracket 2. So I'm gonna walk you guys through this once again because it is very, very confusing. Bracket 2. Mississippi State and Florida play in the first round. Duke and South Carolina play in the first round. So I have Mississippi State defeating Florida. And I have Duke defeating South Carolina. Duke is on fire right now, and I don't think that the Gamecocks are going to be able to beat them here when it matters. So the 2 losers, Florida and South Carolina, loser is eliminated with that double elimination bracket. I have Florida with the way that they're playing right now. I think they're able to get this win over South Carolina. So now the winners play. Mississippi State, they stay undefeated with a win over Duke. Mississippi State, they're the more talented team without doubt, and that could hurt Duke this late into the College World Series, where they start to see these teams like South Carolina. They're not even a host, or they are a host, but they're not even a number 1 seed. But now they're meeting Mississippi State, who, in my opinion, is one of the best teams in the country. So I've got Duke losing this one. Now Florida and Duke. So you have both teams have one loss. The loser is eliminated. I've got Florida beating Duke. These are two teams that are playing really well right now. But as I mentioned with that Mississippi State game, Duke is going to start running into these teams that are really, really good here in the College World Series, especially if they're able to win their first rounder, which I think could be a pretty easy matchup. If they're able to get this far, of course. They're not necessarily a favorite. They are a 2 seed, but they're playing so well right now. But Florida is as well, so I have Florida winning this one. And now Florida has one loss. Mississippi State has no losses. So just like the Arkansas Vanderbilt, this essentially becomes a best-of-3 series where Mississippi State already has one game. Remember, in that first round matchup, Mississippi State defeated Florida. And I've got Florida defeating Mississippi State here. This was an interesting series in the regular season. Or not in the regular season, in the SEC tournament, sorry. This was a very interesting game. Florida just dominated Mississippi State. And I think Mississippi State gets revenge in the first round, but then I think Florida, they're going to come back. They know how to beat Mississippi State, and I think they go out and they do that here. So that sets up another game 3 between Mississippi State and Florida. So these two teams, all 4 teams actually, the final 4 teams, all from the SEC. So that just shows the SEC strength and just some very good baseball teams here. So how many SEC teams do I have here? Actually, I have 6 teams in the College World Series. That's 6 out of 8 from the SEC. That's really impressive, but honestly, it doesn't surprise me that 6 SEC schools have made this far. So each of these teams that you see on the screen, they'll be participating in a Game 3 of their 3-game series to determine who goes to the College World Series Championship. So it's going to be a very interesting prediction. Arkansas and Vanderbilt, the first 2 teams that we are looking at. So, Arkansas, they're the number 1 team in the country. Vanderbilt, who knows who's going to be pitching for this one. They might try to save Rocker or Leiter, but they also might need them earlier on. So, I have Arkansas advancing to the College World Series. I think Arkansas has more pitching depth, and they're a very good hitting team. So, I've got Arkansas advancing to the College World Series, and they will play the winner of Mississippi State and Florida. So, Mississippi State, they won the first matchup, getting revenge from that 13-1 victory in the SEC tournament that Florida had. But Florida knows how to beat Mississippi State, which makes this one super interesting. And Florida, they come in this one, and they have the most recent win over Mississippi State. And I have the winner of this game. So the winner of this game goes to the College World Series, faces number 1 Arkansas, and I have that team as the Mississippi State Bulldogs. I think Mississippi State the better overall team, but Florida playing some very good baseball right now. They they played super well in the SEC tournament, and they got some good wins. They have good wins on their resume, but Mississippi State, I think they're going to come out. Not only are they going to want to destroy Florida after what Florida did to them in the SEC championship, but I think they're probably the better overall teams. That sets up these 2 teams, Arkansas and Mississippi State, in the College World Series. So here we are, the College World Series Championship prediction. We have Arkansas, number 1 ranked, and Mississippi State, who is also a regional host from the SEC. So this is a best-of-3 series. So all it takes is 2 wins to win the College World Series here. Game 1, I have Arkansas winning this one 6-3. So that gives them a 1-0 series lead. All they need is one more win. Arkansas, I think that they're going to be able to use their pitching to dominate in Game 1. Game 2, maybe a little higher scoring. That would not be surprising if Game 2 is a little bit higher scoring. And all these SEC teams, they've gotten to face each other quite a bit this season. So they know how to beat each other. They know how to play against each other. And that's what makes this College World Series with all these loaded SEC teams. That's what makes it really interesting, is like these teams have seen each other before. Which I guess also you could argue is kind of boring for the sport, because you're just watching rematches, but these are on a much bigger stage. So Arkansas and Mississippi State, that's 2 of those teams that have faced each other before in this season, of course, both being in the SEC, both being SEC powers. So I have Game 2. If Arkansas wins this one, they are the winner of the College World Series. And if Mississippi State wins, they force a Game 3, and that Game 3 will determine the result So, before I reveal my pick here, in the regular season, Arkansas, they came out and they swept Mississippi State in Starkville, in Mississippi. So the Friday night game was an 8-2 victory for Arkansas. Saturday was an 11-5 victory, and then Sunday was a 6-4 victory. So they were able to handle Mississippi State, and they were able to score 25 total runs to Mississippi State's 11. So game 2, we'll have to see if Mississippi State can finally get a victory on Arkansas. My prediction: I do not have Mississippi State winning the game. So a 97 victory for Arkansas, a little bit higher scoring as I hinted to, and that means that Arkansas is my predicted College World Series winner. So I have them winning the College World Series championship in a 2-0 series over Mississippi State. So that means that Mississippi State, they're out, and I have Arkansas winning the whole College World Series. So that's all I have for this video. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, and let me know in the comments what you thought about me picking the number 1 overall seed, Arkansas, to win the College World Series. Who do you think is going to win the College World Series? I want to know who you think in the comments. Chances are it's going to be an SEC school that you pick. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and go subscribe to my live streaming channel and my Clemson channel. If you are not already subscribed to either of those, they will each be linked in the description, as they always are. And I'll see you guys next time here on Sports Earth.